Hello guys and welcome to the video. Today we take a look at the aircraft carrier Weser from Trumpeter in 1/350 scale. This kit was released in 2022 and features a variant number 4 of the Admiral Hipper class converted into an aircraft carrier, project name Weser. Unlike the O class I reviewed, this project at least began production and with the hull 95% completed was later halted in 1942. So here we got a somewhat historical ship in that sense, though just like the H class, it never got completed. Anyway, this kit features some old and new molds, and as now Trumpeter standard, a basic photo-etched set, like railings, ladders, and radar antennas, to complete the overall build out of the box. They also gave us a nice little extra, let's call it, aircraft, which you might already spotted on the box. Enough talking though, let's start with the unboxing. I will try to make this as short as possible this time with the assembly manual, but it's rather thin with only 28 pages. 28 pages for only around 560 parts. So it shouldn't take too much time to complete this model, since we don't have large caliber guns and rather completed superstructure pieces. Most of the time-consuming parts are the smaller boats, the secondary and anti-aircraft guns, and the aircrafts themselves. Speaking of, this carrier comes with 20 airplanes in 4 different variants and 2 special aircrafts. Flying saucers to be exact, but more on them later. Just a quick look at the paint guide. The ship itself has a standard paint job, red bottom hull, black boot stripe, and everything above in navy grey. Some surfaces are painted in dark grey, and the yellow stripes are possibly identification markings. As for the time I will build this kit, I will probably go for Baltic stripes camouflage, just like the Bismarck and Prince Eugen had. I will go with the example you can see on screen, shown in World of Warships. All the aircrafts are shown with green or grey camouflage on top, and a white or grey underside, even the flying saucers, to which we will come back later. First parts we take a look at are the lower and upper hull, so it would be possible to make a waterline model. All the other recent Trumpeter releases have all fully molded one single piece hulls, which requires little to no extra work at all. So why Weser, a recent release, still has this option is fairly simple. She is a Hipper class ship, and Trumpeter already has all the molds for these kits. For the Weser, they make use of the mold of the Prince Eugen hull, which does make sense, but also means there will be quite a lot of work required to make this hull seamless. So yeah, this probably comes with the usual quirks of the Hipper class molds, such as the two halves not fitting very well together, and also the deck won't sit perfectly flush at some points. But we will eventually see how it works out when I come around and build the Weser. The Hangar deck is the first new mold we look at. It's impressive what kind of complex structures they can now mold in a single piece. When you close the giant hole in the middle, we could lower the aircraft elevators and even display the inside of the hangar. Although, I would like to ask why the injection pin marks had to be in those visible places, where the smaller motorboats are later located. Apart from that, it's a solid molded piece, with strong structural integrity, and the imprinted details are very nice, compared to the other Hipper class kits. Last major piece is the flight deck. And as you can see, it's a pretty thin mold. Regardless, the details on the deck are pretty good. We get 2 openings for the aircraft elevators, with 2 thin molded mesh patterns, let's call them windbreakers, in front of both elevators, and nicely visible arresting cables in the aft. The wooden deck itself is also nicely molded, so even without a wooden deck sticker, you should get a satisfying result after painting. The foundation for the 2 catapults are okay, I guess. The walls are pretty thick here, but still okay. The undercarriage struts are also pretty thick, but I mean, they won't be seen after the build is complete, so I think that's not too much of a deal breaker. Trumpeter did a good enough job here for something that won't be very visible in the end. As I mentioned in my O-Class review, Trumpeter is now able to mold larger superstructure pieces in one single mold instead of many extra parts which have to be glued together afterwards. Some might argue that it takes away from the building process, but it also eliminates bad tolerances in the individual parts, which could result in a bad alignment when gluing everything together. That being said, the base superstructure is really nice, but it's rather bare. I mean, no ladders, no anti-slip surface, but at least we get some doors. Same for this piece, Superstructure F2. A nice single mold, but not with much details. I wish they had made the front windows hollow, because it's a nightmare to make clean, square openings. Last major superstructure piece, F3, and the same here. Closed square windows. And apart from the doors, it's a pretty detailless superstructure piece. Yes, I know. I am complaining way too much for such high quality molding. Don't get me wrong, those big molding pieces really help for a swift and clean build of the model. Sprue A contains larger pieces like the nameplate for display, the 2 halves of the chimney, the 2 aircraft elevators, as well as the lookout platform, 2 large vents, 2 side platforms with AA nests, and a large bulkhead, plus 2 pieces I'm not really sure what they are. Sprue B contains 4 big platings to cover the top of the hangar deck, the main mast where the lookout platform is placed on top, the rudder, 2 support struts for the flight deck, another large vent, and a piece of the crane. On Sprue C, we have more support beams for the flight deck, the 3 screws of the Weser, another side piece with AA nests and various deck supports, as well as 1 motorboat and 1 rangefinder. All in all, everything looks really nice. Nothing too bulky, though all the injection pins on the support beams should be removed with care. On Sprue D, we have what looks like to be armored conning towers, more support beams for the overhanging flight deck, the propeller shafts and hoses, base part of the crane, as well as the main flagpole and various other smaller pieces, which I can't identify yet. On the E-sprue, which we have 2 times, we have 2 poles for the catch net on the side, 1 motorboat, the cover for the aircraft catapults, various rangefinders, ammo boxes, 3 pairs of the 105mm secondary guns, as well as 1 rowboat, single anti-air gun flag and Fearlings flag, anchor and 1 searchlight. The barrels of all guns on the sprue are pretty good looking and should make an overall good impression. The 8th sprue contains the 6 105mm gun mounts and are the same molding generation as the Prinz Eugen, which means they are an older molding generation and do contain some molding flash, but overall still looking good enough. Now we get to our first group of aircrafts. In this kit we get 5 JU or Junkers 87, also known as the Stuka dive bomber. They seem to be a new mold, since the older JU 87C-1 from Trumpeter are clear plastic mold. Maybe something is different here because of the aircraft carrier aspect, can't say for sure though. The molding looks crispy enough for a 1:350 scale aircraft. And I do believe we get some PE parts for this aircraft in this kit. Next, we have 5 Arado 195 multi-purpose biplanes, which could carry a 500 kg torpedo or bombs. And yes, this aircraft did exist. And I'm sure enough, the support beams between the wings are replaced with photo-etched parts in this kit. Though I'm not sure that we get any bombs or an actual torpedo for these planes in this kit. Next, we have 5 Bf-109T attack aircrafts. T stands for Ausführung Toni, though T for Träger, which means carrier in English, would have made much more sense in my opinion. I hope they made the fragile landing gear a bit stronger for the hard carrier landing. Also, these aircrafts come with an additional external fuel tank. No bombs, no torpedoes, but an external fuel tank, yeah sure, why not? Okay, last group of, let's say, conventional aircrafts. 5 FI or Fieseler 167 torpedo bomber and scout biplanes. Most people probably never heard of this aircraft and neither did I, but it's a real carrier-based aircraft. So yeah, it's a biplane with a fixed landing gear and we get 5 of them. With no bombs, no torpedoes once again. So for our last group of aircraft, Trumpeter found a bit of humor and gave us the options for 2 VRIL-1 Flying Saucers Wunderwaffe aircrafts. I have no idea what VRIL could mean except V for vertical takeoff maybe, and the rest some supernatural Wunderwaffe conspiracy thingy. Listen, I'm not a history nor a conspiracy channel, so it's just funny that Trumpeter decided to include these Wunderwaffe fictional aircrafts in this kit. They even have a nicely molded canopy, good panel lining on the top surface, 3 landing necks and 1 central pew-pew gun. We are done with all the plastic and Wunderwaffe parts. Now to the decals. We get the typical Kriegsmarine flag, 1 in static and 1 in waving display. Same as for the 2 angry German flags. Also, this decal sheet gives us the opportunity to display the angry sign on the flight deck, if you wanna get YouTube strike that is. We also get the angry sign for all the aircraft's tails, as well as the Iron Cross for all the aircrafts. I don't know what the yellow stripes are for, maybe for the resting cables, I'm not too sure. And that sums up the decal sheet. As for the kit's photo etch, we get 6 sheets in total and an untreated anchor chain. 3 of the PE sheets are for the aircrafts and the 3 largest ones for the ship. The photo etch for the ship includes railings for all around the ship, radars, ladders, windbreakers, the interior of the chimney cap, and exterior wall plating for the outer hangar deck. For the aircrafts, we get arresting hooks for all aircrafts except for the flying saucers. Only the Arado 176 gets photo etch canopies and support beams or cables. The Weser biplane stays stock, I guess. And that is all of the photo etch already. You can't compare it to a Flyhawk, Eduard or Pontus kit, but it is enough to make a complete ship build. And that I really appreciate. Of course, I already got myself a wooden deck sticker with some extra photo etch. It's the same manufacturer as for the O-Class wooden deck sticker. It contains the wooden deck sticker itself, a pre-cut masking tape for the wooden deck, and some additional photo etch like the arresting cables, large windbreakers, the catapults, and some undercarriage for the return mechanism for the launch trolleys. It gives the kit the extra little bit to make it a complete build in my book. So guys, we are already at the end of this short review. Maybe this helps some of you out there to figure out if this kit suits your taste. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, I decided my next build would be of the O-Class Battlecruiser, but this will take me some time. Anyways, guys, vielen Dank, have a great day and see you in the next video. Tschüss!